This Dr. Johnson, big homie, coming straight to you about that fire. What's up? This Dr. Johnson, big homie, coming to y'all one more time, man. I just want to talk to the homies out there about the ladies, the young ladies, the older ladies, and our aunties and mothers. It being Mother's Day weekend, I just thought we needed to go ahead and do a celebration or some type of appreciation for what our mothers do. You know, I always talk about learning and whatnot, and things of that nature. But check this out: your mothers are your first teachers, no matter how you look at it. It take a man and a woman to put a baby together, put a child together, for the conception. But while that woman is carrying that child, while that mother's carrying that child, that's when the learning begins to occur. That's the first lessons right there. And that's when you can, you pray with the child. And this go out to my young sisters, like my cousins, my aunties, the sisters and whatnot, and the mothers, because a lot of times nobody really talk to y'all about when you carrying the baby. While you holding that baby for that time, that 9 months, that's precious time. That's bonding time. And doing that bonding, man, read scriptures to that child. Read scriptures to that child daily. And read different articles and different things that you might like. Because all you're doing is just planting seeds, you're watering it. Because I really believe in from the womb to the tomb. It's a lifelong learning process. And if you want to be a professional, whatever you do, you got to lock in and you got to become a student of the game. But you've been a student all your life because from when your mother began to carry you, when she was carrying you, she was teaching you from that point on. So she's laying that foundation. So for that, I got to give all the mothers out there a big thank you. Because even going through birth labor and seeing my wife go through birth pain, I think I'm pretty tough, and I know some guys out there that, we tough, we all macho, and we can go whatever. But when a woman is giving birth, man, that's some of the most pain I've ever seen a woman go through, and it was really, really difficult. So I do understand a push gift. For a while I didn't. Like, what? A push gift? What is a push gift? A push gift is when the father gifts the mother for pushing his seed, his child. His legacy starts with him and her. And y'all got that time to put it together. So, it all starts with the mother. The mother of all learning is repetition. And that mother's going to repeatedly teach that child, for one, about God, and two, about education, and then three, going to be about motivation, about going to get it. Some people, just in your family, your bloodline, my grandmama taught me how to go get it. She was 70 years old. Her job was daycare, Sunday school, and she was the candy lady. She was selling ice creams and sodas till she was 70 years old. Hey, Ronnie, go in there, they want them get them a soda and fix them some ice cream. My grandmother was hustling from then, so all of us, a lot of men that I know, we got our game from a woman. So with it being Mother's Day weekend, I got to say, we got to say as men, thank you. And a mother's love is unconditional. Also, I think of a mother's love, it's got to be like, the closest thing to God's love. But why I say that? Because a lot of times, as a good friend, as a brother, there's some things that I'm not going to put up with. I'm not doing it. Nope, ain't no way in the world. I'm not going for it. But as a mother, your mother going to be there when you calling her from the county jail. She's coming. When you at the hospital and you can't speak for yourself, your mama is coming. Now, when you got your friends, your homeboys, and I got some great homeboys and some friends out there that I truly love, but they not going to do what my mama going to do. That just never going to happen. Your mama going to put you up on game, but she not going to, she going to be there all the time when your fellas and friends can't and will not. And that's just by nature. That ain't nobody being funny and holding back, nothing like that. That's just a mother's love. A mother's love is, like I said, the closest thing you're going to get to God's love. So just keep that in mind when we're dealing with when you're dealing with women and whatnot. So, from birth to raising families. And, I got to say this. I love all women. But black women, man, I got to say this, man, y'all one of the greatest resources on the planet. Because for the United States to be one of the most powerful countries in the world, guess who raised those women Guess what women raised those men and women to be soldiers and leaders of the free world? It was a black woman, a nanny, a mammy. It was a black woman who raised those politicians' kids, and even still today, they still raise them. But just going back in time, my grandmother, she worked for the congressman. You know, she raised the congressman's kids. That's how I got to go to the White House. So from the liquor house to the White House, I've been there. How? From my grandmama. She worked for these people. She taught me while she's raising the congressman's kids. A white congressman kid, good guy, McClure Clark. My grandmother raised his kids, helped raise his kids. And my other great grandmother in D.C., Dr. Mama Ruth, she raised the doctor's kids. I've been around doctor's kids, even though I'm playing in the hood and in the dirt. My friends, they poor and broke, and we making it. But when I go to D.C., I'm around doctor's kids, and my grandmother trying to pass on lessons that she, not only she teaching me, that she teaching them as well. So, you know, that resource, black women, man, I got to say thank you, because y'all leading the world. You know, so I got to put that out, raising families. Y'all the rock of the family, y'all the matriarch. You know, 9 times out of 10, when you have a grandmother, you have a family. Everybody can go to grandmama's house. You know, when we was growing up, my grandmama had all the grandkids, all the kids. It was lovely. It was beautiful. But when grandmama passed, it's kind of like we all went our own way. And that's okay, because we still tied to each other. That's why you got a family tree. We still on the trunk. Everybody just branched out at different levels. I got cousins and brothers that branched out way up at the top, and I might be at the bottom. I'm okay with that, because we from the same tree. It's still the same stock. That leaf ain't no better than the other leaf. Why? Because my grandmama taught us that. So I just had to put that out. Also, from my mother, you know, even when I was a child working on my confidence and things of that nature, man, she would read to me, and she'd be like, every day, you know, mother of all learning, remember y'all, repetition. And she would say this and read this to me every day. I think I can. I think I can. She knew I was a little kid. I looked funny. I think different. She probably worried about me. So she was putting things into me like, I think I can. I think I can. She didn't yell it, but she just put that into it. I can hear my mama's voice. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. I know I can. It came from my mama. Now, my daddy taught me to throw them things, but, you know, that's a whole nother story. But my mama taught me to think positive and use your mind to get out of difficult situations. You see what I'm saying? So, again, thank you, mama. Best of Lee. I love you. Thank you. Also, you know, that positive thinking, the game, all that comes from a woman, man. You know, even when you take losses, you know, one of Yo Gotti, he says in one of his songs about mama, don't worry about your losses. Keep moving on. Why? Because a mother has to go on. Because at times, many times, don't get me wrong, even like with my grandmothers, they had to raise 6 to 8 kids by themselves. Ain't no man in the picture. So they had to learn how to live with losses. They ain't got nobody to call. They had to figure out how to do things with the things that they had. You got 6, 7 kids in the house and everybody got to eat. Come on, man, that's a woman. It'd be hard for a man just to do the basics, but a woman, man, she what they call it, she go deep. she got strength. Because why? She know how to pray. My mama taught me to pray. She taught me to do tithes and offerings. We was at church every week, but it all came from my mama. And it always came from my grandmother and my aunties. And so I got to say this, you know, I lost my mother early. And, you know, some of my friends, they lost their moms. And one of my good friends, he just lost his mom and his sister, resting in paradise, to my Aunt Wanda, the Allen family. But, you know, to lose a mother, man, that's a whole lot. You know, and so when that mother was gone, I had to get that respect because, you know, when my mother passed, it was my grandmother who stepped in and raised me. It was the women on my street. It was my homeboy DeMond's mama, Aunt Marche, OJ's mama, Aunt Sam, Aunt Wanda, Junior's mom, Aunt May, Brian's mom. So it was the women in my family and my friends' mothers who took me in. So what I mean by that, and even my aunts, I got to give my aunts some love too, man. Like, my Aunt Polly, my Aunt Nancy, my Aunt Zora. You know, I got a lot of aunts out there, my mama's sisters. They help me out because it's a woman. And what I hear from my Aunt Polly, you my sister's seed. I got a duty, an obligation to make sure that my sister's seed is okay. And I thank you for that, Auntie. I don't get by like I'm supposed to, but I love you and I thank you. So just keeping it real right there, you know? And these the women, when my mother died, I was 12 years old. It was the women in my community that helped me. They made sure I ate. They made sure I was able to take showers at their house. If I needed my clothes washed, they was there. You know, there was times when the lights might have been out, and I'm on the phone on Thursday or Friday with my homeboy, like, can I spend the night with y'all this weekend? His mama never asked me for a dime, but took care of me when we didn't have lights and water. When I was sick, it was my auntie that called me. I got chicken pox. I got a contagious situation. My auntie gonna bring me from my house to her house with her husband and kids to make sure her sister's child is still taken care of. That's what a mother does. That's what a woman does now. So I got to give a lot of thanks and a lot of appreciation for that. And, you know, one of the things I think about, you know, now that I've gotten older is, you know, loyalty over everything. And I know we're getting closer to graduation. It's prom time. And I know these young guys, and you're supposed to, and young ladies, they feeling each other now. That's what they do. They teenagers, they kids, they humans. That's what we do as humans. That's how we live on and continue on. You know, but at that prom, man, hey, look, dog, I'm talking to the little homies now. So you got a mama, auntie, make sure y'all get this to your sons and nephews. If that girl say no, stop. It's a no. That no will save your life. Now, when she's ready, she'll give you time, she'll give you a kiss. She'll hold your hand. But don't you rush it. If that girl say no, you stop it right there. Okay? You don't want that in your life, man. You don't want that. You got to put that woman in your situation. What do you mean by that? Put that woman as like, that's somebody's daughter, that's somebody's sister, that's somebody's niece. That could be your niece, your sister, your mama, your cousin, right? Now, I come from a family, you put your hands on one of my cousins, we gonna have issues. That's big homie right there. Dr. Johnson gonna be a little diplomatic. But you put your hands on my niece, on my daughter, one of my cousins, we got problems. You don't want that. So when that girl says no, she mean that. No. And then too, I gotta say this, boy, you don't want no charges. Now for the rest of your life, you gotta deal with charges. You can't go to parks and recreation centers because you got a charge because you couldn't control yourself. Now the big homies tell these little homies to control yourself. If that girl say no on prom night, stop. Don't crash out before you class out. You about to graduate, but you not listening. You can't control yourself. Yeah, man, you got to figure this out. So be good to the women. Love them. You know what I'm saying? So don't beat on them and don't cheat on them. So, you know, because I've seen that as well growing up in my family. So I'm not talking about anybody else. You gonna beat on them and you gonna cheat on them? Damn, man. Give that girl a break. Put your mama in that situation. Put your sister in that situation or your cousin. Oh, he over here putting his hands on me after he done left this girl house. Do what? Now, as a man, I got to be real. Because you don't get nobody's relationship, you don't get nobody's marriage. So what I mean by that, now you tell her, now I love you. Now, the boy done put his hands on you one time. I'm not going to go for it. Now, if you go back to him, that's between you, him, and God. I ain't got nothing to do with that. Okay? But I do respect and understand, protect our women. Okay? So just keep that in mind. And then when you find you a good woman, good girl, she gonna be your best friend. She gonna be your best friend, marry your best friend. My brother once told me, he said, if I ever get married, I'm gonna marry my best friend, bro. Hell, I ain't know. I was like, do what? I'm gonna find the prettiest thing, the baddest thing I can find. I'm gonna get married. No, that ain't what you do. marry your best friend. She gonna be there for you when your mama can't. She gonna be there when your friends and your family. Now, if you good to that woman, she gonna be good to you. Hey, look here, man. One of my homeboys told me this. You got to be a quarter if you got you a dime. That way you can cover you and her. 10 plus 10 plus 5 is 25. So you got to be a quarter to take care of the dime and everything else to come with it. All right? So you buy the groceries, she gonna cook the meal. But if you give her hell, you give her nonsense, she gonna give you hell. That ain't what you want. So when you got you a good woman, be good to her. Make her your queen. And one of my big homies, I always talk about the big homies. One of my big homies, he made it clear as day. He said, "You like to play chess?" I said, "Yeah, I like chess." He's like, "Yeah, I know you like chess. But here's the deal. You got to treat your wife like she the queen on the chessboard. Any threat to the wife and to the queen, shut it down." That's Dr. Johnson and Big Home. You dig? That should be every man. All right? But at the same time, we're humans. All right? So, with that being the case, you want to marry your best friend. And then I'm going to take it on even further. When you do meet your best friend, she going to have elements of your mother and then the women in your family and the women in your life. But what do you mean by that? A man is only going to get a reflection of himself. Because if you believe in scripture, even in Genesis, he took the rib from the man and created the woman. So she is your other half, your better half. That's your rib. That's your flesh of your flesh, blood of your blood. You one up. You'll think about it, figure it out. You did? So, with that being the case, you're going to get a woman with elements of your mother and your family. If your mother or your mother was a hard worker, you're going to get a hard worker. If your mother was loyal, you're going to get somebody that's loyal. If your mama was pretty, you're going to get you a pretty one. And to every man, his mama pretty, so he going to get whatever his, there's going to be elements and similarities. So, with that in mind, be good to the women when you can. Don't get me wrong. I know about the birds and the bees. I understand good sex. But what's even better than good sex is loyalty. That woman going to be there when you can't do for yourself, man. Now, if you give her hell, you got to be able to handle the backwash. You can put it out there. You got to be able to take it if she get your ass back. But if you can't take it, don't you do it. Okay? And that goes for every man out there. We got to do that. But other than that, man, do your thing. But there's going to be women out there too now. Every woman don't deserve all that good treatment, though. Don't get me wrong. Let me be clear. Because of addiction, abuse, adverse childhood experiences, there's some women, and I'm not making excuses, these are factors why some women abandon their children early. They might be on drugs. And if you're on drugs out there like that, I can understand, and I've seen that life where she has more of a calling or a pull than her natural call to be a mother. And then there's been times, man, where I done been around women out here on these streets, and she might be high, or whatever the case may be, or getting high. But then she'll sit there and tell me, like, I don't want my kids to go through this. I don't want my kids to be like this. So I'm taking it all at the same time, like, dang. So, not to go too far in nobody's business, but if this woman, we in the projects, she getting high, but she's still taking time to think about her kids. So when I'm in schools and I'm working with kids, I know that what this mother wants for this child, even though she's not present. So as a man, we got to build those parts in. We got to get those foster parts and put those pieces in to where a child can still grow and learn, even when they may not have that mother love. But then that's when the grandmother come in and the great grandmother come in. Because I've seen it where the grandmother and great grandmama, they taking care of everybody and the great grandkids. I've seen it. This I know. And that came from a mother who prayed, man. So the family is built on that foundation of love and prayer. And when you can find a good woman that fits into your vision, Don't go off of love, because love come and go. But if you and that woman share a vision, y'all share commonality, and you can spend your Saturday with her or your Sunday when you ain't got nothing to do and you bored as I don't know what, and this woman can make you happy and she brings you some joy, man, that's a sign. That's something. But when when there's a woman that's no good for you, she cheating and she lying, I love you, but you go on. It's called tough love. And I learned that from my mama too. Tough love. I love you, but I ain't putting up with the nonsense. Not doing it. No, ain't going for it. Mm-mm. I love you. I'll be here to help you, but I'm not gonna be your fool. I'm not gonna fall for that. So, when you do meet those women that's running game and trying to, and you might can see it from a mile away, like, I know she ain't trying to do this. She might, she trying to survive too. But move accordingly. Let her do her, but don't let her do you. You know what I'm saying? Listen to what I'm saying now. So anyway, man, it's Mother's Day weekend, it's graduation, month coming up. Hey, next week, matter of fact. I know A&T have their graduation coming up soon. This coming Saturday, they have it on Mother's Day weekend because one of the mother's greatest joys and gifts is to see her child graduate from high school or college. That's one of the mother's greatest joys because she's done her part. And we got to do our part. And we got to, play our role. And what's our role? To be a man to protect, honor, and cherish our women. And when they, when there's some that, that's not ready for that kind of love, you show them some tough love. But you don't stop loving them. And when they turn around, they change. It's like when a man changes, we forgive and we move forward. But anyway, loyalty over everything. I love all the mothers, the sisters, the aunties, the cousins, my nieces, even my daughter, future mothers and whatnot. Hey, and I one more thing, y'all. I ain't gonna forget because there's some women out there who cannot have kids, but they raising everybody else's kids. And I apologize, I didn't put enough time in this segment for that. But there's some good women out there. And she might not can't have kids, or he can't have kids, and it's just him and her. But she a good woman. That's what I call a godmother. What do you mean? God put that woman in somebody's life to be a mother, a godmother. So, to the godmothers and all the mothers out there, we thank you. We appreciate everything you've done. Okay? This is Dr. Johnson. Big home! Straight from the corner to the conference room. Till next time. Peace.